Hair tangling elves. These tiny little creatures are not real creatures, but they are responsible for tangles and mats on our doodles. We need to know about them to be able to be proactive and help undo what they do while we're not looking. So, how tangles and mats develop. There are a few critical things, doggy lifestyles, grooming supply, lack of brushing. We're going to take a look at a few and the most important ones. The number one is whatever is happening to your doodle, the lack of brushing and combing will cause tangles and mats. Rubs. Whenever we rub, there's no way too much, but whenever we rub our doggies like they have a sweet spot on their butt or around between the ears or behind the ears, belly, chest area, those spots get so matted because of the oil on our eyes, our fingers rubbing against the skin, and our doggies rubbing their butt against our hands, that it just creates craziness in case we are not following that up with a little bit of brushing. Feet cleaning. That's another way to rub our doggies, especially when it's raining or winter time. We clean their feet and we rub it with towels and whatnot. And sometimes we even have to rinse it and rub it. So that creates a lot of mess. That's amazing space and way to go about creating toe mohawks and paw pad boomerangs. So keep an eye out for them on your doggy. Doggy accessories, rubbing against the skin. And there's going to be a lot of talking about doggy rubs. Color. Whenever we leave the color on our doodle, that's going to create a lot of mess under the color area. Usually I see a layer or a line, I should say, around the neck area, and I can exactly tell where the color is, where the doggy keeps it, and where the buckle is. Imagine that. Because where the buckle is, it rubs differently against the coat, and we as we open and close or buckle up the collar, that creates also a lot of rubbing against the hair, so it can tell a lot of things. Cones after surgery. We don't really think about that up front. Most of the time we do not, but we are now, since you're in this basic course. So now you know, in case you know up front that your doggy is getting a surgery, then you can go about either getting a haircut before the surgery or making sure that you are brushing the doggy out absolutely perfectly before the surgery and fairly soon after the surgery, in case the doggy can handle it, so we can avoid crazy mess around and behind the ears or around the neck. The harness, it's amazing, beautiful. I don't want you to throw it out. It's the greatest way to have your doggy on walks, so you're not choking the doggy with a collar, especially with high energy level ones, and while you're training them not to pull on the leash. But the harness, especially the biggest surface, the ones which has bigger surface, those rub against the hair, and that's gonna create tangles and mats. Again, I can tell which side the harness buckles up because there are tighter mats around that side, so keep an eye out for the misery of the harness from this perspective. But if you go after those little hair tangling elves around the harness area a little bit more frequently and double check with the comb, then you don't have to worry about it at all. Bandanas, they are adorable, super cute, mind-blowing, heart-melting, but when it comes to tangles and mats, they are hair tangling elves again. So follow up the neck area, not just after the collar, but also around the bandana area. Doggy clothes, they are cute. I like them whenever the doggy needs it. That's my personal preference. I'm not really about dressing my doggy up at all. But whenever he's cold or whenever he's too hot, he's gonna get the doggy clothes on for winter and for crazy hot summers with a cooling vest. So he's not gonna go wild in the crazy Texas summer. And for doodles, that's going to result in mats and tangles on the coat. So again, whenever the doggy clothes rub against the hair, follow up with a little bit of brushing and combing. Doggy shoes. They are essential for winter and summertime. I need to say it, summertime as well, because the concrete will burn your doggy's feet. Even if you just run a little bit from the parking lot towards a shaded area, your doggy needs his shoes on or her shoes on. Because if you check the concrete, it's gonna be burning hot. So make sure that you're following up with a little bit of brushing around the feet area, because as you tighten the doggy shoes, that's gonna rub against the hair. So we want to avoid crazy mats and poodle feet. So let's make sure that we are brushing that doggy shoe area as well. Hard to reach areas being skipped. That's another especially tricky situation, because there are multiple tricky spots on the doggy from this perspective. We're going to talk about them later on in a detailed section when we are talking about hard to reach areas. So I will leave it as is for now, and then we can dig deeper what's going on there. Chewing and saliva. There can be a few situations with this one, like you're getting a new puppy and the little puppy is chewing like crazy on the old puppy. Or you're getting two puppies and then they are chewing on each other like crazy. It's easier in that situation because puppy coat is usually shorter, so you need some time until the hair grows long enough to go crazy with the chewing. But nevertheless, it will, and we need to follow up around the areas where the puppy is chewing on the other one, like on the tip of the ears, behind ears, tail, legs, neck area, wherever they like to chew, or the cheeks. You need to observe them, where they chew each other, and then you need to follow that up with a brush. Daycare chews. Even if you do not get a puppy, there can be puppies in the daycare, and your doggy gets exposed to them, and your doggy comes home, and if it's full with tangles and mats, preferably just tangles. So in case your doggy goes to daycare, you can follow that up, or have them follow the doggy up with a little bit of brushing before they would send him or her home, so you don't have to do anything about that. Skin irritation, injury, chews by the doodle on him or herself. That can be an issue in case your doggy has allergies, insect bites, has fleas, or sat in an anthill, whatnot. We really need to pay attention to that, because the chewing and saliva combination mats are really tight. They get dry, and they dry in a way that it's very, very hard to open them up. So unless you got the doggy while chewing on it and brush it out, it's going to be really, really hard to open it up, or probably more like impossible. So those areas need to be trimmed out. Another hair tangling elf is the bath time, water, snow exposure, without brushing and combing first. So whenever your doggy gets a bath, let it be at home in the tub, or gets exposed to some lake or creek water, or have some fun in the mountains with some snow, we need to make sure that we are following up with some brushing, because those are making tangles and mats develop like tenfold faster. Ear infection, scratching behind the ears, any kind of discomfort. Ear infections, again, scratching because of ant bites or whatnot, critical, because they will work so hard on one specific spot that will make the coat really, really tangled and matted super fast. So whenever like an ear infection is going on, make sure that you are following up with a brush around the specific spots. Let it be like one ear only or both. You need to brush those areas, because the doggy will work against you while you're sleeping.